Have you talked to your teammates, I'm sure, about the fact that you're not going to be playing in front of anyone? As of right now, it might change. There might be more people that are allowed in the stadium. How do you think that's going to affect the game and, like, from a pitching, from a batting standpoint, like, how is it going to affect everything?
I think it's going to minimize the value of home field.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, like you get a lot of adrenaline and momentum when you're coming back in a game or when you're in a big situation and your home crowd's going crazy. So it's going to kind of level that out. I think it's going to weed out the people who are not weed out in a way, but people who are driven by the moment and people who are driven by the competition itself. The competition is going to be there. There's still a hitter in the box. The games still matter. So people who are driven by that and being the best, you're going to see them play to their normal level. They're going to appear to play up a little bit this season because I think the overall level of the game might be a little bit less in some ways. But the guys that aren't driven by uh, the competition as much as they are either the moment or the money, probably don't have as much motivation this year. I mean, we've already seen some guys opting out for various reasons. I'm sure some of it is due to the money side. So it's going to be interesting to see which players kind of rise and which ones kind of fall this year.
What about do you think it'll be easier to hear someone banging on a trash can this year with no fans in the crowd?
You would expect so. I don't know if that's old or new technology. I think there's new stuff. You know, it's hard to hear buzzing going on. I'm not sure if that's a thing or not, but yeah.
I saw your shirt when you took a picture. You're still like I like it because the world has obviously changed drastically since spring training. There's a lot of important things going on, but you are the torchbearer of I'm not forgetting about the Astros. I'm going to wear this shirt and troll them every single chance I get. I appreciate that.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I was just taking a picture, happy that baseball's back. Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Black Sox scandal. What's that, 100 years ago or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
So, I mean, might as well just make the Astros the next one.
I agree. I think people do need to be reminded of it from time to time because like I miss caring about slightly inconsequential shit, you know? Like there's so much serious stuff that's going on. In the grand scheme of things, like the Astros cheating, yeah, it sucks if you're a Yankees fan or Dodgers fan or if you play baseball against the Astros. But in the big picture, it's not that huge. But it feels good to get mad about that small stuff, you know?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, with how ridiculous 2020 has been, I mean, we got a pandemic, we got election year, Kobe, passed away. Like, there's been a lot of stuff. George Floyd, obviously. There's so much serious, heavy stuff going on in the country. Like,
The TikTok stuff, I'm sure you're familiar.
Yeah, Little Huddy got canceled.
Little
yeah.
Huddy Gate.
Yeah.
making some fun of some things is much needed, I think, for everybody. And at this point, look, I mean, it is what it is. It happened. Everyone's aware. It's part of the culture now. And it's like, making memes it's like crying Jordan at this point. Like, you make an Astros meme every now and then, it's funny. If you make them too often, it gets old. You got to space them out a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So, was there a part of you that, even though you lost out on a lot of games, you lost out on a good amount of money this year by not playing games for the first couple of months of the season, was it kind of cool just being like, yeah, this is some awesome time off that we're getting right now. Like, I'll take a couple months to relax, rejuvenate, ease my way into the season.
I went the opposite way. I looked at it as like an off season, so I basically just killed my body for 3 months. But I got a lot stronger, got a lot more powerful, added a mile an hour or so to my fastball, worked on my command. So yeah, I went that way. When it all shut down, I was like, there's no way we're playing baseball before, maybe June at the absolute earliest, but probably July. Like, I got 3 months, something like that. Let me try to get better. So I tried to use it for improvement. I know some guys like looked at it and like, man, I don't have any motivation. I'm going to go fish, or I'm going to go spend time with my family, or I'm going to go, hang out on my boat, or whatever it is. But my hobby is like getting better and studying and researching stuff. I'm a nerd, so I was in the gym or researching.
So in the attempts to bring baseball back, it was obviously very much publicized. The fight between the players, the MLBPA, and the owners. You were very vocal about it. Do you think there's going to be any residual? I mean, there's going to be contracts, the new CBA next year, but is there residual? Can you feel it? Anger about how the owners handled everything and how they tried to put it on the players when in reality they just were trying to get the cheapest deal possible?
Look, it's hard to blame either side, and it's very easy to blame both sides. Like, you can look at it a couple different ways. On the owner side, you'd look at it like if anyone was running a business, they would want to find a way to not lose money. If they lose money, they don't have a business. They can't employ their employees. They can't operate, stuff like that. So save the bottom line seems to make sense. And best way to do that when you're not making as much money is to cut costs. So I understand it from the business side. On the player side, like we don't sign a per game amount. We don't sign a prorated contract. We sign like if I play this year or once I sign this contract, I'm making X amount this year. So if I get hurt in spring training and I play 0 games, I still make that amount. Right or wrong, that's what the contracts are. So on the player side, it's like I can see why the players would be upset about not getting their amount of money, or at least a prorated amount. Like you shouldn't make less per game than you would have normally. Like so I can see it from the player side. I can see it from the owner side. Where everyone messed up is that the first thing that the owners did was make it a public fight. I don't know any other business that would intentionally pit their customer base, which is the fans, against their product, which is the players on the field.
Yep.
But that seems to be the decision that was made. Now, from a negotiating standpoint and pressuring and trying to get the best deal and all that, it makes sense in a way. The problem is it's very short-sighted. It's about getting the best deal this year and doing irreparable damage to the sport. There's going to be a lot of people that just won't watch baseball for the next X amount of years because they're so mad at the sport for arguing about money in a time when 45 million Americans, I don't know what the current number is, but upwards of 40 million Americans are unemployed. Stimulus checks aren't going out on time. You have racial unrest going on in the country, civil unrest, like all this serious stuff, like we talked about earlier, is going on. And then you have millionaires and billionaires fighting in the public about who's going to get more money or less money or whatever. It's all these things are going to have to be done behind closed doors anyway. That's where they should have remained. And then from the very jump, it just got put in the public sphere, which is the wrong thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
It just occurred to me that with no fans in the stands this year, nobody's going to be there to boo when a pitcher tries to throw to first base like more than once in a row. Like that always cracks me up when fans do that. Does that ever get into your head if you like throw over to first base maybe twice and they start to boo and you're like, oh shit, I better not do it again. They're really going to let me have it.
Not mine, but I do know some pitchers who get the yips on throwing to first. So like they'll come set and they freak out and they pick over. And then they're like thinking about, well, I didn't mean to pick over. I just did that. Why'd I do that? And then they do it again and again. And I've seen guys pick over like 6 or 7 times in a row, not because they want to, just because they have the yips. And then the pitching coach has to call timeout and come out there and talk to him to break it up.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that happens. It doesn't bother me. I don't mind making people mad. I think you guys.
Right.
Yes. No, that is absolutely true.
Actually, kind of why we like you.
Yeah. Everyone's talking about how the games are going to be played in terms of managers probably having a shorter leash on their starting pitching because of 60 games, bigger rosters. Have you had that conversation yet? Do you fully expect it? Because knowing you, Trevor, you don't like being pulled out of games. Is that fair to say? So what's Trevor Bauer going to be thinking if he gets pulled after 5 innings because it's a do-or-die game 35, and you're like, I shouldn't be pulled. I still got stuff left.
Yeah, I mean, the competitor in me in the moment is going to be mad. Anytime I have the ball in my hand, I feel like I'm the best option to win, for the team to win. I think every competitor feels that way, So in the moment, the competitive juice is going to be flowing, and I'm going to be upset about it. But remove me about half an hour or 45 minutes from the game, and I'll probably be in there like, hey, I only threw 78 pitches today, so can I pitch in 2 days? Can I come out of the pen? Can I let me get back out there and pitch? So I think 60 games, every game is 2.7 times as important. I think that's what the math works out to. And so higher stakes. Every time I take the mound, it's worth basically 3 games, or what would be 3 games, which in the course of a 5-man rotation is 2 weeks. So it's like, you start thinking about it like that, and it's so much more important. We're blessed with the Reds to have a lot of really good talent, a really deep bullpen, a really deep starting staff, a lot of guys that can, get hitters out at a very high clip. So basically anyone we throw out there is going to be able to get the job done. And ultimately, I want to play in the postseason. So whatever gives the team the best chance to win, whether it's me or not me, like that's what I want.